What's up, guys? Josh Morse here with FLoBros Bassin, sponsored by No Coast Fishing, bringing you today this week's tip video. So, we put a poll on Twitter and you guys chose the Lipless crankbait for this video. Now, if you missed that poll, be sure to follow us on Twitter and on Instagram so you can catch all of our polls, announcements, and everything else that we're doing in the fishing world. Also, if you're feeling good today, drop us a sub. Really help us out. So, now let's get into the video all about the Lipless crankbait. Obviously, this is one of the most popular and successful baits in the bass fishing industry. You see this in every angler's tackle box, often on every angler's deck. So, what makes this bait so good? In my opinion, the thing I like about the Lipless crankbait the most is that it helps you cover water, especially in situations where you're on a new lake or a different time of year, don't quite know where the fish are. This bait often helps you find it. You can fish it shallow, you can fish it deep, helps you find the fish. Now, the most important thing about covering water, obviously, is castability. You have to be able to make long casts. Accuracy not important, but long casts to cover water all around you. So, what's the most important for that? Well, obviously, it's going to be your equipment. So let's talk about the rod, reel, and line that you're going to throw, or that I would recommend you throw with a Lipless crankbait. Here I have a 7-foot medium action fiberglass rod. What makes this rod good for fishing the crankbait is that it's fiberglass. It's got extra flex and extra backbone, which helps with two things. The first thing it helps with is casting. When you've got a rod that flexes really well and you time it right, you're going to cast a mile. The other thing that a flexible rod is good for when fishing the crankbait or other lures with treble hooks is that when the fish are hooked, they're usually not hooked well with treble hooks, and they often shake the hook, which, you don't want that to happen. So, flexing a rod will flex with the fish when it shakes and keep these hooks pinned. So, 7-foot medium action fiberglass rod. I like to pair it with a Lew's BB1 speed spool. I fished lots of different reels with the crankbait, and this is the one that I've found to be the best. Casts really far, especially paired with a good rod. And I throw a 6.5 to 1 gear ratio, which is just a good even retrieve speed, but if you want to burn it, you can do that too. So now, here comes one of what I think is the most important part of your equipment when fishing a Lipless crankbait, your line. If you go too heavy, you're not going to be able to cast. If you go too light, you're going to break off. And you're going to be buying one of these every time you go fishing. You don't want to do that. So, the line that I've found to be the best for Lipless crankbaits is a 12-pound fluorocarbon. Don't throw braid, don't throw mono. Those are not going to work for various different reasons. Throw 12-pound fluorocarbon line on your Lipless crankbait. So, that's the equipment that I recommend you throw on a Lipless crankbait. Now let's talk about when and where you're going to fish this bait. This bait for me is an all year round bait. It is on my deck 99% of the time. This, like I said before, helps you find fish, whether they're shallow or deep. Also, you can fish this through grass. Surprisingly enough, even with the trebles, if you rip this through grass, you are going to catch a lot of fish from reaction strikes. So, when are you going to throw it? All year round. Where are you going to throw it? Grass, shallow, deep, pretty much anywhere. The only thing I would tell you to avoid is wood. Don't throw it around docks. Don't throw it around sticks. You're going to get hung up and you're not going to catch any fish. So, now that we've covered that, let's talk about color. In my opinion, this is solely a rattling reaction bait. The color is not very important when it comes to catching fish on rattle traps. Now, of course, I'm not going to go throw in a bright green, bright pink rattle trap, but I'm going to stick to my golds, my chromes, maybe even a red sometimes, sexy shad color. The standard, simple bass fishing colors. The chrome and the gold can help to reflect the sun, which can be helpful in murkier water. But for the most part, just keep it simple with your colors. It's a reaction bait, so you're going to catch fish no matter what. So now I'm going to show you guys a video from my previous fishing trip of me catching a fish on a rattle trap, just so you can see kind of what I've been talking about and have a little example of, the flex in the rod, the way you're going to work it, and all the things that are going to help you land a fish on a Lipless crankbait.
something like that, and then all of a sudden they're like, well, dumb.
Alright, I know. It was a dink, but at least you have a little example to prove what I'm talking about, so you know I'm not crazy. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram so that you don't miss that poll for next week's tip video, and be sure to tune in then, and thanks for watching. Remember, no coasting, keep those lines tight. See you next time.